Thank you for coming.
Appreciate it.
Russell, you starred with Denzel both on stage and in film,
Yes.
Fences. Did you have any conversations with him at all before accepting the role? And if so, did he give you any feedback in terms of how to approach doing this type of role on screen?
I've not spoken to nor heard from D about it. I did run into his wife, Pauletta, and she just, she said, we're rooting for you. Denzel and I are rooting for you. And, honestly, that was good enough for me. But, I'm the kind of actor, much, I think like Denzel, having worked with him, where you accept the challenge, and that's what I'm ready for. And, that's what, this is about. I mean, I'm not scared or intimidated, I believe the universe has said, this is for you. And so I'm ready.
What did you find so compelling about Lakeland that you just couldn't pass this project by?
Honestly, it's the challenge of dealing with his disability, quite honestly. And, as I said in the room, on the panel, is that as the type of theatrical that I am, that I have been historically, I want as big a challenge as I can possibly get. And am I nervous? Was I nervous? You're damn right I was. But I know that I could do it. But more importantly is that I tell people all the time that you can't just be a thinking actor, you have to be a feeling actor. And I think that the challenge of dealing with the character with such a disability is that you have to feel, you have to have a sense of empathy for these disabled people. And so, the challenge for me was meeting our medical consultant, Gary Baisley, who is a Q4 quadriplegic, and talking with him, hearing him telling me about his accident, how he became a quadriplegic, and then going to his physical therapy sessions and seeing other Q4s, 5s, and 6s, seeing how their disability affects their posture, how it affects how they move their head, or how limited arrangement do they have in their hands or their arms, how it affects how they talk, how they breathe, all of those things. And so, that's what I want to do with the role. That's what really enticed me to it, because I think that I am a thinking and a feeling actor. So, I feel like there's no one better than me to be charged with this challenge, to be charged with this role, because I do possess all of that, and I do think of myself as one who looks at things authentically, but also responsibly. I have to, because when you're looking at, being a black man in America, I know how we've been treated. I know, how black folks have been treated. I know how women have been treated. I have a mother, I have a wife, all of these things, I have to take into consideration living in this country. So now, how are the disabled treated? How may they have been disregarded? What are we doing to really consider them when we sort of change the landscape of the city? When we look about, creating ramps on sidewalks and, in corners and whatnot like that. I look at that stuff differently, In 2013, I ruptured my Achilles. When I was doing Grimm, living in Portland, Oregon, and just having to go around on a scooter, a pedal scooter, that changed my whole outlook on how cities are now constructed or not. How are people able to get around? Where are there elevators? All of these, are there ramps? I started to think, I was like, damn, I can't get anywhere. What's going on? And so now, having to deal with this now, I just have a whole different sense, of disabled, and how do we look out for them? How do we treat them? How do we consider them? Do we regard them? And so hopefully, this will, again, just bring awareness. It ain't gonna, listen, stuff ain't gonna change overnight. You know what I mean? But you just want to bring about awareness to it, like you want to do it for anything or anybody else. Again, whether it be about fair wage for women, whether it be about how blacks are treated, how minorities are treated, all of these things. The diversity in the landscape of this country. Nothing's going to change overnight, but we need to bring about awareness so it changes how we think, it changes how we converse with each other, you know, all of those things. So this will just be a part of the conversation. It doesn't have to be the conversation, but it will be part of it.
Now, and speaking of that, for this character, this man on his journey through this first season,
Yes.
what is his evolution? What is his personal journey going through this first season?
I think it's about getting out of his mental imperative. You know what I mean? Because I think he has to now expand himself. Sort of, you know, just get from, you know, always thinking about being so insular. You know, I think he's become a loner. And he always, I think, has been, because he's been sort of the smartest one in the room, and he's been able to sort of dismiss people, and he's been this cynical curmudgeon, I think, most of his life, and even more so because of his disability. But now, how does he bring people in? Because he knows he has to rely on people. He has to rely on Amelia. He has to rely on Kate and Felix and Salito and Claire, who is his helper. But he has to find a way to say, I need you, when that's not in his vocabulary. Do you understand? And so that's his biggest challenge, is to sort of reach out and his hand out, you know, metaphorically reach his hand out and say, please come in.
So for people that may not have been familiar with the original book, what do you think viewers can look forward to?
I think we're looking at these sort of case of the week, but also this overarching story of him finding the bone collector, but also, again, characters that are broken, and just trying to find themselves. How do we deal with life on these new terms, right? So Amelia, with what happened with her sister, and how does she deal with that, and how that impacts her life, and Lincoln of, you know, his disability, how does he move forward, still able to live with that, and also still able to, you know, find a way to incorporate himself in daily life and life outside of his domicile as well.
How do you? I love your work, by the way. I love I mean, I've seen everything you've been in, so it's great. I was excited to see that you were in the show. What do you hope that the audience takes away from this? Because you're playing this iconic character, and now you're going to create this larger fan base. It's going to happen.
Yeah. You know, listen, I'll take time. They can stay. I'll come over. You know, I think, listen, we want to entertain. We want to excite. We're a procedural TV show on NBC. I want people to enjoy the case of the week. I want people to enjoy just the different twists that we're bringing on television and police procedurals. But listen, I also want them to be interested in watching, you know, this disabled character who is quadriplegic figure out these cases and feeling a little bit, and again, maybe that we can just be entertained just in a different way, and at the same time feel a little bit and feel a little bit differently and think differently as well, you know. But I understand what it is. I understand what we're doing, and we're not going to be all things to all people. But I think we got something that's just going to be interesting, and hopefully everybody will just kind of get on board the A train and take that ride uptown. That's all. You know what I mean? But because listen, as I said in the panel, like I'm very secure in my abilities and my talents. You know what I mean? And so I think it's going to be interesting. You know. And people are coming in to not just watch the show, but to watch me, and to see me play this character and bring this character to life. So I got something different for folks. You know what I mean? I'm coming at this a different way. You know, I'm coming at this with a little bit of, just a little flair for the dramatic. Just a little more je ne sais quoi, if you will. You know what I mean? That's not just by the book. you know what I mean? And so that people will be like, wow, that was funny, or that was interesting, you know what I mean? Because you know, there's a lot of things that people can tune in and watch. So I want them to say, man, I like the way Russell approaches a role or approaches a character that's different, you know. And listen, I am a black man, born and raised in Oakland. I was raised on hip hop, you know what I'm saying? I was raised on R&B. I love, you know, musicals. I love theater. And I do have a theatrical flair about me, but I also got a soul for this about me too. So I'm bringing all that. Do you know what I'm saying? So that's what I want people to come, be willing to watch, and take away to say, man, I love the way this brother rolls. I love the way he comes to work. I love the way he comes, you know, embodies these characters, and it's all going to be something different.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
Thank you so
Appreciate
much.
it. Thank you.